Hi everyone, welcome to Eden Secret and Christmas Pack and Crack. So my first order is going to Basingstoke, and she has ordered a pack of the lovely Christmas tree decorations that we do, that are made from soap, and one of the festive wax melts in peppermint. So you can buy these. They all look identical, but they have a different fragrance. So each one has the white wax background with the coloured embeds on the top. The reason I've done it that way is obviously it makes those embeds and decorations really stand out, and they do add a little bit of colour into your wax when you're melting it. So that's that, and then in goes a free piece of soap, and we also need to pop in some packing peanuts. Okay, so some of you are asking if I would tell you how I came about starting Eden Secret, so that's what we're actually going to talk about today in the video. But first, we're just going to finish packing this box. Okay, so we're going to start by packing the soaps first. So we've got some gingerbread Christmas pudding here, or if you are in the USA or Canada or anywhere but the UK, you probably know it as figgy pudding. And I didn't even know that until recently, when someone asked me, what is Christmas pudding? And kindly someone had answered that question in the comments and said, we know it as figgy pudding. So we're also packing a gingerbread town. These bars are absolutely huge. So next time if I make them, I need to make them a little bit smaller because they're far too heavy. And they take some fitting into the packaging as well. Well, let's talk about how I actually started Eden Secret. And I might go back a little bit further actually to when I met John. I didn't live in the northwest at all. I lived in the northeast, and I was actually a photographer. I was like the photographer that stands in the supermarket with a tickling stick, or the school photographer. That's what I used to do for a job. Anyway, the tickling stick job in the supermarket, they always laid you off over the winter because there was no trade in the winter. And that's when I met John, and obviously we got on, and I ended up moving over here. And there weren't any jobs like that over here, but what there is an abundance of over here is cleaning jobs in hotels or anything to do with hotel and catering. So I got a job as a cleaner in a local hotel called the North Lakes Hotel. There's no way that's going to fit in there. No, I need some other way to package this bar. So yeah, I got a job in the North Lakes Hotel, which is right on junction 40 of the M6. From there, I ended up becoming head housekeeper at a hotel called the Crown Hotel in Wetherell, which was really nice. And then I had Declan, got married and had Declan, our son. So I stopped working then. And once he was old enough, I went back out to work and I started cleaning. But mostly doing like holiday cottage cleaning. The pay's actually quite good for holiday cottage cleaning around here. But obviously I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. And I was just about to turn 40 at the time. And I was actually going for an interview for another cleaning job. But just before that, someone had bought me a gift from Lush for my 40th birthday. And I've always been like into crafts and arty. I'm not a good artist or anything like that, but I've always been into that kind of thing. You know, sewing and cross stitch and just all kinds of little things like that. And as I was driving for the interview, I'd already started to learn how to make soap, because when I got this gift bought for me, I was like, oh, this is amazing. I had one bath with a bath bomb and some gorgeous soap. I just loved the idea. It was described to me as, you go into this shop called Lush and they have mountains of soap. I'd never been in, I'd never heard of it. They have mountains of soap and they chop chunks of soap off these great big blocks and sell it like that. And so once I'd used this soap, it was Coco Loco or something like that, I think it was, and 2 bath bombs in this gift box. And I thought, this is it, I've got to learn how to make this. So that's basically how Eden's Secret was born. And so I'm like this with everything. If there's something I'm really interested in, I want to learn, I just go flat out into it, and I spend as much money as I could learning how to make products, which wasn't as easy as I thought. But I absolutely loved doing it. And so my birthday was in the January, so you would say Eden's Secret was born on my birthday. So January the 5th. And it wasn't until August, well actually I'll cut back to the driving for the interview for this other cleaning job. It was like a private cleaning in someone's house. And as I was driving there, I was thinking, are you going to go for this job or not? Or are you going to try and make a go of this soap? And so I actually got halfway there. And as I was getting halfway there, I actually thought to myself, yeah, I'm going to go full hog into this, learning how to make product and sell it. I'm going to create a business. So that's what I did. I turned around, I drove back home, and then that was it. It was all Eden's Secret from that moment on. And after I'd spent thousands of pounds learning how to make product, I also spent a fortune in Lush. I know I bought every soap, every bath bomb, every bubble bar they did, every shampoo bar. They're the ones that jump out. I didn't buy all the face creams and body creams and that kind of thing, because at the time I wasn't that interested in doing those, and you've got to start somewhere, haven't you? So I just wanted to learn everything about it, but I knew that I didn't want to create stuff that was like Lush did it. They have their own particular style, but I wanted like the pretty version. So that's exactly what happened and what I did. I went full hog into it, and by the August I thought I need to go out and start selling some of this product, see if anybody's going to buy it. And John, my husband, said, who's going to buy any of that? Well, that day I took about 75 quid. And all I did was I went onto the local market. I bought a wallpaper pasting table. You know, the type that you put your wallpaper on. Might be 15 quid, 25 quid, something like that. And you paste the back of your wallpaper as you're going to paper the wall. And that's what I went out with. A table like that with maybe 4 different soaps on there. I can't remember what else was on that table. So that was it. My first day out selling. I took £75 and yeah, I really enjoyed it. And so it just went from there to grow and grow. So we haven't grown and grown to be this massive, humongous business. In the early days, I was really hungry to succeed, and I have done another video similar to this about 10 years ago. I think it's the first video on this channel, on the Eden Secret channel. Oh, by the way, you see, I came up with a solution for the gingerbread town. It's not ideal, the box, but at least it's wrapped in something Christmassy. So what I did was, because in the early days I was really hungry to succeed, and I wanted to grow my business to be huge and be able to create jobs for people and all that kind of thing. But as time's gone on, I've kind of changed all my mind about that. I ended up realising I didn't actually want to go back out to work anymore. I like working from home. So although I miss my shop, the more time that goes by, the less and less I miss the shop. In a way, like, when I'm not one for going out shopping much. In fact, I'm here all the time, basically, making soap or packing orders or doing whatever I'm doing on my own. And I actually really like that. I don't mind my own company as long as I've got something playing in the background. But what I did do was... from there, going out on that first stall on that first day, which was a Tuesday. I know it was a Tuesday because it was the Tuesday market in Penrith, which isn't there anymore. Unfortunately, markets have become a thing of the past. In this country, outdoor markets, eBay's taken over the market, which is fine by me. So I went from there. On a Tuesday market, I started to do a Wednesday market in Kendal. All this is outdoors. Thursdays I went to Whitehaven. There was a big outdoor market there. Did I go out on Fridays? I don't think I did. And then Saturday I went to Kendal again. And then I decided I wanted a shop. Well, the shop I would have chosen as the ideal shop, it was just a little one on Angel Lane. It was a florist, and she moved into a bigger premises next door. So that came up and I thought, I've got to go for that. I've got to have that as a shop. So that's what I did. I opened my little shop in Angel Lane. It was 24 square meters. It was tiny, and it was absolutely packed to the brim with all sorts, because I didn't just sell soap. I sold jewellery, I sold handbags, I I sold cards. I bought really nice brands in, like Nougat Body to Home was a gorgeous brand, True Grace candles, Melt candles. They're the three that spring to mind immediately. And so then I got my shop. I think from getting the yes, I think it was ready in 2 weeks, and in I went. The only thing was I was very, very naive when I went in there. My rent was the dearest in the street, even though it was the smallest shop. My rates weren't so bad there. My rent was about, well, it was 12,500 a year, which is really ridiculous for the size of the shop and the location. And then they started building this new development in Penrith. And I started getting into my head, oh, I would love a new store, because this shop I was in, it was dead old, and the toilet didn't work very well. There was burst pipes underneath. And just one thing after another. And then I started thinking, well, if I went to Keswick, which is a tourist town, by the way, I did do all right in that shop in Penrith, and people still stop me even now and say how much they miss it. People did like it, and I liked it too, but I got it into my head that I thought if I went to a tourist town, I would have different customers every week, and so I thought I would sell more. But actually, I just probably sold very similar. But in Penrith, which was a town for locals, I did very well in the run up to Christmas. In Keswick, it's all summer trade, so you didn't get that Christmas trade. And what I got in summer wasn't as good as what I got at Christmas in Penrith. My shop was a lot bigger in Keswick. It was twice the size of the old shop. I think it was 54 square meters, something like that. And it was a lovely shop, but again, it was old. The only thing with that shop, the rent was 14,500 a year, and the rates were 6,500 a year. So that, I'm only selling soap, remember. That is a heck of a lot of soap to sell to make enough profit to pay 21,500 rent and rates out every year. Anyway, I think the owner wanted to sell the shop to the restaurant that was next door. And so I said, I think I would like to go, because I'd actually started to get people coming in from different parts of the country and start asking me if I would do wholesale. And I thought, well, if I can do this from home and do all right, it might actually work. And no matter what, when you've got all those bills hanging over your head, and it's not just your rent and rates, so next time you go into a shop and you think, good grief, they're charging £10 for a slice of soap or whatever, you might think it's expensive, but they've got staff to pay, they've got the rent and rates to pay, they've got the electric bills to pay. I mean, my electric was thousands a year because I didn't like it cold, I liked it warm. And then in the summer, I liked it cool, so I had an air conditioning unit going in there, which is still the same air conditioning unit I've got now. So it's at least 10 years old, this air conditioning unit I've got. I shouldn't say that, it might stop working. But yeah, it's lovely having a shop, but honestly, it's a hell of a worry. It's a hell of a worry over your head. Worrying about paying all your bills, and you've got to keep your stock levels up. If you don't keep your stock levels up and have new stuff all the time to interest people that are coming in, you know, I don't know, an empty shop just looks not worth going into me. You've got to have plenty of choice so that people can find something that they want. So in Keswick, I obviously sold all my soaps. I made all my soaps myself, but I did buy bath bombs in, and I bought Nougat Body to Home again, and I bought milk candles, True Grace candles, Lily Flame candles. The Lily Flame candles sold very, very well, but my soap was still the biggest seller out of everything I did, and it still is even today. The soap sells the best. But as I said, just a huge worry. So the landlord let me out of my lease, and so I came home and I started working from home. And for years I have missed my shop, but as I said, the longer time goes on, the less I miss my shop. And on the rare occasion that I do go out shopping, like John and I went to Birmingham recently, you can't beat going into a shop. And I'm not talking about soap shops up here. I'm talking about going into a shop, say like Selfridges or John Lewis or Harvey Nichols or Harrods or whatever it is. You just can't. There's no Harrods in Birmingham, by the way. You can't be going in and seeing all the product displayed like that. It's beautiful. It's exciting to me because I don't get out that much. So it's quite exciting for me to go out shopping, especially to a big town like that, like Birmingham, Liverpool, London, because they have different shops to what you get on, I mean, all the regular shops that you get on most high streets are there, like Debenhams and Boots and all those types of stores. But they do have shops that aren't on every high street, like Selfridges. You know, and they have nice luxury brands. I can't afford luxury brands, and even if I had the money, I probably wouldn't buy them. I mean, there's the odd designer piece I would like, but if I was rich, I probably wouldn't buy all that. It's like a huge waste of money to me. But as I said, there are a few pieces that I would really love. So yeah, it was absolutely beautiful day as well when we went to Birmingham. It was gorgeous weather. So I thoroughly enjoyed walking around and having a look at all the stock and everything. So I'm a big believer in giving customers a lot of choice so that they don't have to go looking elsewhere for what they want. I remember a girl used to come in the shop and say she was going to open a shop that was just soap. And I thought, I don't know whether I probably did say it to her, trying to help her, but that I didn't think that would work very well. Because not everybody wants a bar of soap. If you've got some homewares and other things as well, you'll get those customers in. If you get a few luxury brands in, like I did, even though there were toiletries, I'm talking luxury brands, I'm not talking designer brands here. Then those types of customers who like to buy those types of brands would come in and buy those, but they wouldn't buy mine, which is absolutely fine. And if you're gonna, what you need to do in a shop is make sure you get the best value out of every given space that you've got. So whichever brands you can make the most profit on and that sell the best, then that's the brands you want in any given area in your shop. And always, it doesn't matter what you do, you're always going to get some brands that sell very well, some that sell okay, some that don't sell so well, but they're nice and pretty, so it makes your shop look nice or nicer. So that's my advice on the shop thing. I know all of us, you know, soapers, we all dream of having a shop front, but it's not all it's cracked up to be. I mean, if you can do the business at home without having to go out and pay massive rents and rates and things like that, and whatever else you have to pay out, electric, water, even if you don't use water, you still got to pay for water in this country, because if you don't use water in the shop, they'll just work it out on how big your shop is, how long your shop front is, and they'll charge you, I can't remember what they called it, but I think it was like 175, I think it might have been £75 a month, but I can't quite remember, it's a long time ago. So you have to pay water, which is like a maintenance fee. So even if you're not using water, they've still got a way of getting around it. I don't think they can charge you for water that you use if you're using it for the bathroom, like going to the loo and washing your hands. I don't think they're allowed to charge for that. But say you had a sink in your shop or something, then, and you know, you which is a great thing in a soap shop, is having a sink there. It's something I always wanted. I didn't have a sink, but what I did have was I bought a sink that didn't work, and I had a water spray bottle. So if anybody wanted to try anything, they could spray the water spray on and have a go with the soaps and things over the sink. So I still sort of had a sink. I always put a little bit of double-sided sticky tape on the back of these decorations here, so that can hold it down in place. So where was I at? I was at the sink, but I was also at the chargers for this and that. I can't remember all the chargers you get for all different kinds of things. And there's a lot in a shop of our nature. You might go past Lush sometimes and think there's never anyone in that shop. And that is what it's like in a soap shop. It's all or nothing. Everybody comes in at once, and then it can be quiet for a few hours. But the good thing is that quiet time in the shop, that's the time that I would spend making my labels and wrapping gifts up, and I really did build up. In fact, it's funny, where was I? Oh, I was at the doctor's getting my bloods done a couple of weeks ago, and she asked what I did, and she said, oh, did you used to have that shop along Angel Lane, that soap shop? I says, yeah, that was me. She says, oh, I used to love coming in that shop. she says, I love buying you gifts. And the gifts I had, they'd be wrapped up gift boxes. You couldn't see what was in, but I would have a tag and it would say what was in. But I built up a really good trust with my customers with my gift boxes. I didn't put the rubbish in there that I wanted rid of or the old stuff. I always put the good stuff in there. And that built up a huge trust with my customers, meaning that loads of people used to come in and just buy the gift boxes and know that what was in there was going to be really nice quality and really good. And I would have like different price points, so I wouldn't have done a £5 one, but I did a £10 one, a £15 one, a £20 one, a £25 one. And the best time is that last week in the run up to Christmas, when men are looking for gifts for the wives or the girlfriends, and they love to have everything done for them. So I would have gifts there, great big boxes with stock in for like £100, and I would have it all wrapped and it would have the ribbon and everything on it. And I'd say, you know, especially the day before, men are always last minute. Mind, I'm always last minute. And they'd come in and I'd say, oh, I've got this lovely box here, it's got this, this and that in, and it's all done for you, look, it's wrapped, it's got the ribbon, it's got the gift tag, it's got everything. I'll take it, I'll take it. I once sold a £200 gift box like that. Okay, it's time for rubbing alcohol. Time for a rubbing alcohol, rub down. See if you can say that fast. I've poured myself a cup of coffee. I'm not really much of a coffee drinker, but I was at my niece's yesterday and she's just had twins and she made me a coffee, and she's got a proper coffee machine, and we have as well, but we never use it. And as I say, I'm not really one for drinking coffee. I like a peppermint tea, and I have a peppermint tea first thing on the morning, and that's it. I just drink water the rest of the day. So these lovely snowflake bags, they're from Amazon. I'll put a link to those in the description box below the video. As with everything else I've used, all the boxes, and I'll put links to me making labels so you can see how to make labels if you want to. So I just wanted to go back to the year that I started my business was 2005, and you can imagine back then there was not an abundance of soap making information. There were books out there, but they were hard to find. The internet wasn't that big, so even finding ingredients, there was only 2 or 3 suppliers that I can remember. So you were very limited. I mean, I got everything from Just a Soap in those early days. But thank God now there's a lot more suppliers out there with really, really good quality, especially fragrances. Fragrances weren't that great when I first started. And the America always did far better fragrances than we did, but now we've got them just as good, if not better. I'm not saying they're better because they're all much of a much, but at least you can get good quality ingredients and they're easy to find now. So if you're ever looking for anything and you want to find, say, fragrances, to put in Google search fragrance oil supplies. Always use the supplies word. Coconut oil supplies, soap colour supplies, cold processed soap supplies, bath bomb supplies, massage bar supplies. That's where you'll find the wholesale. Because if you type, say I was looking for a dupe fragrance oil. The other day I was looking for Rive Gauche by Yves Saint Laurent, and it doesn't seem like anybody does that now. But I've got someone on the case. I'm hoping we can get some sometime in the new year. But if I was searching for something like that, I would type in Reeve Gauche dupe fragrance oil supplier. Because if you just put in Reeve Gauche dupe, obviously the real Reeve Gauche will come up, and a dupe will probably be a copy perfume, you know, like a bottle of perfume that smells like Reeve Gauche. So if you always use the word supplies, then it just makes it easier to find everything. So yeah, back then we were very limited, but honestly, since soap making's got so popular, the prices of everything have doubled and tripled over the years, which does annoy me. Some of them have just gotten so greedy. Like, I'm not going to mention any names, but like one company in particular, their fragrance oils are absolute bog standard, like one-dimensional, and they don't even smell like they're supposed to, you know, the cheapest jack version you can imagine, and they're still charging top dollar. Well, I bet their fragrance sales have gone right down over the years, because there's plenty of competition out there now, which is great for us. But really, if you're buying fragrances, I don't think there should be any more than between £30 and £40 for half a kilo. Yes, USA, that's what we pay. Half a kilo at Nature's Garden is, in English money, is round about £10, $16, isn't it? Well, it'll be a bit more now. It could be £13 in English money. So what this was the Pink Crystal fragrance. So on the back I've got like a label with the ingredients and everything, and I'm just going to put Pink Crystal on, and then say someone really liked this fragrance, they can say, oh, well, they know what the name of the fragrance was, because it's just really helpful if you can do that. Because if they get back in touch and say, oh, it was pink and it had a white top, then I'm thinking, well, I've done a lot of pink and white soaps in the past, and I would probably presume it was pink champagne, but this one isn't. So, going back to 2005, I had to come up with a name for the business. And when I worked at the Crown, the head chef, he had a little girl. He didn't call her Eden, but I really loved that name. It was one they were thinking of using. So that always stuck in my head. And then we actually live in the Eden Valley. There's a River Eden. And then also I was thinking Garden of Eden, because a lot of the ingredients we use, like the oils and butters and everything, they come from the planet. Like all natural ingredients. Not every ingredient's natural, of course. And that doesn't mean something isn't natural just because it's not all natural ingredients. I often see people slagging Lush off, not in the soaping community, but I've seen people slag Lush off in the past about claiming to be natural when they do use some non-natural ingredients, like such as synthetic mica and other things. But you don't have to have 100% natural to call a product natural. But it is still natural. Anyway, I also, at first I didn't have a website, but people always asked, have I got a website? Remember, I was selling in person, and one thing I will say, selling soap in person is easier than selling online. It's an in-person purchase. It's an experience of not just coming looking at something and think, oh, I like the look of that, with like an ornament or a piece of clothes, but you can use it, you can smell it, it heightens your senses and all that kind of thing. And that's what I absolutely love about soap. I mean, I have to say, the other huge reason I got into doing this is because I absolutely adore fragrance. I always have. When I was a kid, I couldn't afford to buy perfume or anything, but if I went shopping, I would always go into Boots and cover myself in just any fragrance, 20 different fragrances if I could, which is crazy because all you do is mix them together and you can't tell which is which. But I have always loved fragrance. And before I was known as the Cupcake Queen, I was actually known as the Candle Queen. So I called my company Eden. But when I went to get it, actually, so this is another thing I just want to mention about selling product in person and people asking, have you got a website? Have you got a website? People asking for, have you got a website, is generally people who don't want to buy. They don't want to make you feel bad because they're coming in to have a look and they go out and they don't buy anything. I think a lot of them, most of them, nearly all of them just say, have you got a website? Because they think it upsets you if they're coming in just to have a look. Well, of course you can come in and just have a look. I know a company that, a shop, they would never thank anyone for coming in and not buying. You know, if someone comes in and they don't buy, I would always say, oh, thanks so much, even if they didn't buy anything, because they might just be looking for later. They might come back later, or they might be setting themselves up to see what's available for Christmas. So never be disheartened that someone doesn't buy if you're selling in person, because they'll probably come back later on. Oh, honestly, you know, I could tell you loads of stories about, like, the way customers act and the things they say. The one that sticks in my mind, it's the biggest one, and if you've got a soap shop or any shop, you will have heard this, and this will absolutely tickle you to hear it, because you'll think, oh, that happens to me all the time. You get people that come in your shop and you're like, oh, this is amazing. I absolutely love everything in here. I want it all. I want it all. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's fabulous. How long have you been doing this? Oh, the smells are gorgeous. Oh, this is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. And then they go out of the shop without buying anything and you never see them again. So I know that'll tickle those of you who've got a shop, because I'm pretty sure that'll have happened to every one of you. So anyway, we're back to the website thing. I wanted a website mainly because people kept asking me all the time, and I thought, I'm going to have to get a website. Anyway, luckily, this really nice couple, and bless her, and she died of cancer not many years after I met them, but they came up to me and they actually offered me to do a website for me, because he was into photography, and they were both into technology and all that. I knew absolutely nothing about technology. And they said they would create me a website. It would be a great showcase for them, because they could come and take photos of all these gorgeous products that I made, and it would be a showcase for them when they were selling the websites to other people. So at the time, so that's creating a website. I got that free. But with anything that you put online, got to pay server fees. And this was called a WordPress website. So when I wanted to create the website, she says, so what's the business name going to be called? I says, oh, Eden. She said, oh, we won't be able to create a website, a domain name with just www.eden.com. You're going to have to think up another word to go with it. And I should have just called it Eden Soap, but I always planned in my head, because I didn't just sell soap, I sold other products as well, so I needed another word to fit that would encompass everything that I did. So it was a quick, on the spur of the moment type thing to come up with the word luxuries, Eden Luxuries. I hated it from the moment it was created, so that's what my website was going to be, www.edenluxuries.co.uk. So what I'm about to tell you now is probably the best piece of advice you'll ever be given when creating a new business name. Keep it short, keep it small as you possibly can. If I just called it Eden Soap, I mean, Eden would have been much better, www.eden.co.uk. Then at the time, I wish I'd known, I knew nothing about technology. And it says what it does on the tin. So, Eden Soap would have been the best. 100%. If you've got a great big long name, every time anybody asks for it, you've got to spell it out, and people always get it wrong. You know yourself, if you are you know, if you've got your business name already and somebody asks you over the phone, or what's your website called, and you've got to spell it out. So obviously mine's Eden's Secret. Now Eden's Secret has 2 S's in the middle. So I always tell them that, and even though I tell them that, they always just, no, not always, most of the time, they'll just put 1 S in, so, oh, that's not coming up. So the simpler it is, the better. So if it was www.eden.co, I mean, that is so much easier to spell, it's so much easier to remember, there's nothing unusual in there that's going to trip people up, so just keep it as simple as you possibly can and as short as you possibly can. Same with your email addresses and that kind of thing. I ended up with Eden Luxuries and I hated it from the moment I started. So I had a YouTube channel, it's still there by the way, and it was called the Soap Maker 1, which actually was a great name for a YouTube channel. I should have kept it really. I've still got it, but I was given advice by the servers, not the people that created my website, the people that created the server that my website ran on, which it was the people that were in charge of the WordPress and taking the server fees each month. They said you'd be much better if you kept everything in line with each other. So I hated Eden Luxuries, and I thought from that moment I've got to change that. I cannot put up with it anymore. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. And I love the sound of Victoria's Secret. And I also thought, oh, it's like a little secret out here, out of the Eden Valley. It's really weird, but I get orders from all over the world, but nobody really knows about me round here, except for those who used to buy from my shop. But as far as they're concerned, I probably don't make soap or anything anymore anyway. because I've changed my business name, and you know, I moved out of the shop, and if I speak to any of them, I bump into them, they're always surprised that I'm still doing it. So I love the sounded like Victoria's Secret, so it gave like a bit of mystique about it, and it was like that little secret out of the Eden Valley. I didn't want Eden Valley. There's loads of business is called whatever valley you live in, isn't it? All over the world. If you live in some valley name, there's some company that has, say here it would be Eden Valley Soaps, and really that's a good name for a company. So in retrospect, I maybe should have gone with that in the beginning, but I didn't want it. And so Eden's Secret was born, and to keep everything all in line with each other, created a new YouTube channel called Eden's Secret. But of course I couldn't just get Eden's Secret, could I? I had to have a one at the end of it, but it doesn't matter. It does matter. I'd much rather it would have been Eden's Secret. So here's another great bit of business advice. Check all your social medias first and see if you can come up with a name that you can get the same name on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all of them. So like mine, I've got on YouTube, I've got Eden Secret 1, Instagram's Eden Secret UK, Twitter's Eden Secret 2005, TikTok is Eden Secret Soap, Pinterest might be Eden Secret UK as well. So that's a great bit of advice for you, is try and pick a name where you can get all the social media handles the same. So I'm actually really enjoying this, telling you all this. It's given me something interesting to talk about that I think will be useful information for you. So yeah, that's when I changed everything to Eden's Secret, and that would be in 2010, which relates back to the first time I told this story. The very first video on this channel is called The Story of Eden So Far. Remember, I'd already had my Soap Maker 1 channel, so there are videos on there, and when you watch the playlist, watch from the very beginning, you'll actually see the videos from the Soap Maker 1 as well. Now, I couldn't afford a decent camera then, so the footage is rubbish, the sound's terrible. I even sound like I've got a lisp because the sound on the camera was rubbish, but everybody's got to start somewhere, and that's the other good thing about doing a business like this from home. Any crafts business you can build up with from nothing. You know, even if you've just got, say, £50 spare, you can buy a few ingredients and make something great out of it, whether it's clothing or candles or resin is so popular now. Just all those types of things, cards. You can start with next to nothing and actually create what I call a hobbyist business. I mean, a business really is what I call a proper business, is a business that generates income and profit, net profit, not gross profit, which is something we'll talk about in the future on soap making from scratch. Net profit is money that's left after everything else is deducted. Ingredients, staff that you've got to pay, electric, running costs, server fees. There's a minefield of things. If you're going to go from starting a business that's just about making product, once you start selling it, that's another world altogether. The great thing is I'm doing something that I absolutely love doing. I don't have to go out every day, don't have to get up early, put my makeup on, do my hair, all that kind of thing. I love not having to do all that. So here we are. It's January the 5th, 2022. It is actually my birthday today as well. I'm 57 today. Eden Secret is 17 years old today. And all those dreams that I had of this great big company, I decided I didn't actually want that in the end. I didn't want the staff and all that kind of thing to go along with it. I'm working from home. I love what I'm doing. It's not as crazy busy as it used to be. I like that, but obviously I would like more money coming in, because we all need money to live these days. I'd love to be comfortable to where I don't have to worry at all about paying for anything. But the thing is, with doing what I'm doing, this is something you can create from next to nothing. You can work from home and bring a bit more income in for you and your family. And I hope I answered all the questions that you've been desperately asking me to answer over and over and over and over again, about how I started my business and what the best advice is for coming up with a name for your business. So thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share and place a comment down in the description box below the video. If you have a soap making business or any kind of craft business and you're watching today, how old is your business today? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye for now.